breaking news. Unfortunately, there was an incident in DC probably an hour ago where two National Guardsmen were unfortunately shot and killed. And with that being said, we're going to start with CBS News and see what they got. Let's go.
The lawn to go over to see the Washington Monument and the other great features in Washington D.C. So it's really kind of crazy that this guy got out there and committed this act because he was going to be seen. He knew he was going to be seen and certainly be shot at. I'm trying to talk to some of my sources back there to make a
I want to
determination
know
as
why
to.
did he
They say
do
there's
it.
about 15 rounds that were fired. It's unknown whether those were handgun, rifle rounds, or anything else at this point. Or at least we don't know it. But I think as we see this come out, we'll find out what weapon he used, the defensive measures that the National Guard used, and we'll learn more about his motives by what they found in his social media and other electronic data.
Jeff, before I let you go, would you imagine with the National Guard deployed currently and the 500 yet to be deployed, there will be a reassessment of tactics and procedures?
Yeah, there's always a reassessment. Anytime you have something like this, there's always a reassessment. I was on a hostage rescue team for about 5 years, and when we responded to events, we looked at what happened and what were the learning points of what happened before when you go into a new event like this, so you don't make the same mistakes twice.
Jeff Harp, I appreciate your time very much, sir. Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break. We are quite obviously in rolling coverage. We'll be back in just a moment with that rolling coverage.
Wait a minute, I thought they said they died. But CBS News here is saying they're in critical
Everybody all
condition.
set? Everybody good?
You guys are set?
Okay, let's go.
What happened to our clapper?
Let's go down.
What is going on?
What's going on here?
I'm going to mute that. Let's see what Don Lemon has for us. See Don Lemon has for us.
In and out. And so absolutely, there are people who live in this area. This is a mixed area, like you put it. And so until this investigation is cleared, until the crime scene is cleared, I would imagine there's going to be pretty limited in and out.
Okay. So thank you guys. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jolly. I appreciate it. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving, okay? I wish I was with you guys.
Thanks, Don.
Hug your families and be grateful. I am grateful for both of you, okay? I'm glad you're both in my life. So,
Appreciate you, Don.
all right. Regards to you and your families. Thank you very much. So that's
Same
the
to
very
you.
latest from Washington, D.C. Information will come in. If there's information that warrants us bringing it to you, we shall bring it to you. Two National Guard members shot just blocks from the White House. You see the reporting there. Initial reports is that these were life-ending injuries. And now the governor of West Virginia, because these are West Virginia guardsmen who were there deployed in Washington, D.C., is walking that back and saying they are still in critical condition. They have not died. And so we shall.
Okay,
see
they're
as soon as we
still
get the
alive
information, we'll
for
bring it to
now.
you right
Okay.
here on the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon channel. First, now, we're going to get a word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from MSI Reproductive Choices. They provide contraception.
Okay, that's what Don Lemon has. Let's go back to CBS News.
Well, I just wanted to add a little bit of context.
I'll be right back in a second.
How much security there is close to the White House there. And just a reminder that in May, 2 Israeli embassy employees were shot outside a museum in the FBI Washington field office. So this is not the first time a shooting has been carried out in such a highly policed area, thought of as a very secure area. Now, what's interesting to me right now as well is there has been a lockdown of information flow. I imagine investigators have already begun trying to ask the suspect questions. It seems that he's likely physically able to answer those. I'm hearing that he might have had ties to the community in D.C., so not traveled in. But a lot of this is very preliminary, and that is the latest that I have.
Anna, thank you so very much. Please stay with us. Sam Vinograd is still with me here at the desk, and I'm grateful that you have stayed with us. Sam, to Anna's point, so the May shooting, two members of the Israeli embassy shot and killed. That was one of the reasons the White House pointed to explain the necessity of bringing in the National Guard and this large federalized crime-fighting task force. That's point one. Point two, when Anna referred to what appears to be or feels to her as a lockdown in the flow of information, right near the end of the press briefing, some reporters asked, have you engaged in any conversation with the suspect? They didn't deal with that. How do you interpret those?
They're for you,
Well,
but I
I understand
haven't
the
seen
question
it.
regarding the lockdown and information. We've already had misinformation, perhaps. We had the governor of West Virginia release a horrifically tragic update about the reported death of the two National Guardsmen, only to retract it. So in this moment, they clearly want to be transparent with the public, but they also want to make sure they're getting their facts straight. That's very important. They don't want to invoke panic or a false sense of calm. You know, I will tell you, Major, having worked on counterterrorism at DHS for several years, no matter how much law enforcement you have in an area, trying to find a lone actor is worse than trying to find a needle in a haystack. So you
Meaning before the fact.
before the fact,
Right.
trying to prevent a lone actor from engaging in active violence is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult because if they are talking to others, it's oftentimes in dark corners of the web. And so you're having a harder time just tracking down their communications and their planning before the fact. We saw that play out in front of when the two Israeli embassy officials were killed, and potentially we're seeing that play out right now. And that comes to the point about the Secretary of War indicating that more National Guardsmen will be deployed to Washington, D.C., 500 more in the aftermath of this horrific event. I'm just not certain that deploying more officers physically to Washington, D.C. alone is going to solve this problem. It really has to involve extensive information gathering, intelligence gathering to try to prevent this act of violence well before an individual with a gun is walking armed on the streets of Washington, D.C. And I will just add, Major, we have seen a degradation in intelligence and information gathering as there have been huge cuts to the federal workforce.
To the point about the National Guard, the deployment and these high visibility patrols, in the conversations that you ever had about counterterrorism or dealing with things in a public space, what is the debate that goes on internally about visibility versus invisibility and achieving goals from a law enforcement perspective?
Well, it's not a zero-sum game. So the fact that you have a physical presence both to deter individuals from acting and then to respond if an act of violence starts to unfold is just one piece of the puzzle. And getting right sizing.
I apologize for being off camera. I'm just eating. But this is CBS News displaying it.
But that's just one piece of the puzzle, Major. The actual act preventing an act of violence doesn't involve armed personnel on scene. It involves very careful information.
I want to know, why did they do it?
It involves prevention work in communities to try to educate people about the signs of individuals going down a pathway to violence and much more. So it's incredibly important that we have the right number of law enforcement professionals on the ground in Washington, D.C. to fight crime and potentially counterterrorism operations, but we also need other officials at the other end of the spectrum trying to prevent this stuff before it even happens.
Anna Schechter, I'm told that your phone connection is slightly better. I certainly hope that's true, because we want to hear every single word you have to say. Any other reporting or observations you have on what is a fast-moving and fluid situation?
Well, more surveillance footage is coming in, and we are analyzing those videos. Law enforcement is certainly analyzing those videos to look at what happened from all angles. They want to find out if there was any kind of an interaction with law enforcement before shots were fired. That is what they are drilling down on right now. Investigators are trying to get the answer to that question, so I'm hoping to get some more information on that soon. But that is another line of questioning, exactly what transpired before those shots were fired. Doesn't appear that they spoke, but they're trying to determine if he might have said something before pulling the trigger.
And to follow up on that point, when authorities, as they have described this as a targeted and ambush style encounter, that means, from your vantage point and in the vernacular of law enforcement, for the benefit of the audience, what does that mean?
That means that law enforcement was not engaging in a mission where they had guns drawn and there was the potential to have some kind of an altercation. They were going about their business unaware that there was a threat and the attacker opened fire. So that is a targeted, intentional attack that in law enforcement terms, many law enforcement would use the term ambush to describe that type of an attack.
And Schechter, our senior coordinating producer in our Crime and Public Safety Unit, thank you so very much. Sam, any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, just one other thought is at this point, we don't even know if the suspect has been identified. What we've seen unfold in various investigations is, in the first instance, looking at this individual with any identification on the suspect's person. We've seen other instances in which suspects had no ID. And so just figuring out who they were took more time. Obviously, in the case of the United Healthcare CEO's assassination, it took the public's help in identifying the suspect in that case. So at this moment, we actually just don't know if the suspect has been identified. That could be accomplished through biometric identification, fingerprints, and other matters. And the public may also be helpful in that regard. As it pertains to an ambush-style attack, these National Guardsmen here in D.C., we see them all the time. They're everywhere. And they have very specific rules of engagement. Certainly being fired upon meets the threshold of engaging in a counteraction. But these individuals, the National Guardsmen, ostensibly were armed. Part of their job in crime fighting here in D.C. is to be on the lookout for potential threats. And FBI Director Patel made a very important point during his press conference, which is these individuals' training kicked in. They responded to the ambush and prevented an even worse scenario from playing out. I think we're going to learn more about that in the days ahead.
But to that point, and I want to dig in on that just a minute, the National Guard personnel here are essentially patrollers. They are not active police detectives or going down places. They're just sort of working the perimeter of wherever they are in a visible way. Again, to Nicole Skanga's earlier point, to achieve a deterrent effect. They're not acting like cops. They're not trained like cops, and they're not invested with the authority. Not legally authorized to be cops, and that's an important distinction.
Certainly.
And limiting to their role.
It is, but they are here to patrol, to look for threats, and then to alert law enforcement to the threats. An ambush-style attack, there are split seconds to respond. Being fired upon is probably not something that they had in their plans for the day, but according to Director Patel, and again, we're going to learn more about this, once the ambush started, training kicked in, and there was a response, and we'll learn more about who responded, how and when, going forward.
Sam Vinograd here with me at the desk, Anna Schechter on the phone. Thank you very much. We are going to continue with our rolling and breaking news coverage of the shooting 2 blocks from the White House involving National Guard personnel, suspect in custody, both National Guard personnel deployed from West Virginia in critical condition. We'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, we're going to go back to Dawn Lemon. Give me a second.
Oh, wow.
Going straight back to Dawn Lemon.
Just, she's got a love for it. No reason, just this reason. I just thought various owners. I'm just curious, I'm just
spreading the love.
I'm not a holiday person.
You're not?
No.
Who are you?
I don't have any decorations. All I got is my Patty LaBelle album. Bam! That's all I got.
Well, can you at least
Patty always
get you a patty pie?
right.
Oh, my family's gonna make. I like Patty now, but my family's gonna make the pie, sweet potato pie. But I'm not really it's here. I like Halloween. That was fun, but Christmas,
No tree, no like.
See you. What else we can
Just
find?
Wait.
I'm gonna
No. Intermittent.
Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find some other sources.
Play. I'll make you come to Jersey on this Thanksgiving break and set up a tree in your house tomorrow night, and think that after dinner.
But check out what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm gonna go and volunteer at a
Let's see what
at a homeless
NBC
shelter
News
tomorrow.
has for us.
So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I wanted to do, because things have been so crazy with the SNAP benefits, and not everybody has gotten them. And as somebody who was
I was born and raised on welfare. I
Let
know
me
what
go back to
the
NBC
holidays look
News.
like when you don't have no money. So I'm gonna go volunteer tomorrow. So I'm gonna give back.
See what
But
I got for it.
decorations and all that kind of stuff, I can't do all that.
Thanks for making us feel bad about
I
ourselves.
know, right? Look at y'all.
No,
I don't
well,
feel bad
time
at
out.
all.
I don't feel bad about it at all. I think that's wonderful what you're doing. Listen, my mom started a faith-based homeless program in the Florida Keys many years ago. I helped her run that, and for 10 Thanksgivings in a row, that's what we did. We provided turkeys and meals for the homeless in Monroe County, Florida, and gave back. And we also would have an opportunity for folks to come and decorate the day center. So because joy is important and things like that. You would be surprised how many of our homeless family would come in and just like cry or say thank you. I haven't decorated a Christmas tree since I was a child, or I haven't felt being a part of something or welcomed in to be a part of the holidays. So you can marry the two things together. You can give back, and you can decorate and spread joy and Christmas cheer together.
Now I will be drinking after I do my good citizen work. So just know that after we're done.
As you should. A good beverage after is acceptable.
Tim and I have done for the holidays and beyond. We've done God's Love. You guys know God's Love. We deliver.
Oh, God's love,
here.
we deliver,
And
amazing.
then,
Yeah.
but usually for Christmas I go all out. Have you ever seen? There was this bikes for kids, like bikes for young kids, and you would
Right.
buy
Kind of like
bicycles
toys
for
for
them
tots.
to put under the Christmas tree.
Okay,
And
he
if
ain't
you've
talking
ever
about
seen
nothing
those
much.
kids' faces light up when you get a bicycle, I'm like,
Um, if there's an update, I'll try to come back later on. If there's an update. But then again, um, I don't know if they'll have anything for us tonight, but surely they should have something for us tomorrow. With that being said, like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.